I'm just a little bit buzzed. Alright, today's episode I've titled ManHunt, but it is actually the case of Jennifer Schuett. Okay, here's a quote I want to mention, and you'll figure out who said it at the end, but the quote is, "When you're a kid, you think that the monsters are inside your closet, but when you become an adult, you realize the monsters are outside your window." And that was by Miss Martinez. When Elaine Schuett found out that she was pregnant, she was first very nervous. She was going to be a single mother, but soon her baby girl, Jennifer, would be born, and they were instantly bonded for life. They were more like best friends than mother and daughter. They were joined at the hip, and where one went, the other would follow.
Red flag number 1.
This one's a little different.
Oh.
The mom's not the reason why we're talking about this. They are, they have a very good bond, luckily.
Okay.
They have throughout this, it's one of the reasons why Jennifer's going to make it through the story. They rented a nice ground floor apartment in Dixon, Texas. It was one of the nicer towns of Texas. It's known for for the 3 Fs. I didn't know what that was, but apparently in Texas it's pretty common for there to be 3 F towns, which stands for faith, family, and football.
That's kind of crazy.
Real American right there. I don't know what that accent was, but it came out. I tell you what. I tell you what.
Oh, God.
Overall, it was seen as a very decent place to live. At this point in time, it was the summer of 1990. Jennifer on that summer was on summer break, but she was looking forward to returning to school as she would be attending 3rd grade that fall. Jennifer was 8 years old at the time of this crime. During the summer, Jennifer would sleep in the same room as her mom because, she's 8, and children tend to feel safe when they sleep with their parents, especially around that age. I think it's just nice to have someone else there in the room. I know that I would get super nervous as a kid that monsters were going to come up and look at my back for some reason.
I didn't like being alone with my own thoughts, so
no.
I was like, I need my parents.
So if my parents are there, it's easier because someone else has your back, something's theirs to protect you, and that's what parents are supposed to do.
Yeah.
And also, again, she's 8 years old, so it's very common for kids to think there's monsters in their closet or under their beds. So parents. Most nights her mother would be okay with Jennifer sleeping in her bed, but on the night of August 10th of 1990, Elaine Schuett, so that's her mom again, explained to her daughter that if she wanted to sleep in the same bed as her, that they were going to have to go to bed early, because the next morning, Elaine had to go to work. Incredibly early that morning. They started doing their bedtime routine, and they were starting to drift off to sleep when Elaine suddenly felt a deep, sharp thud of pain against her chest, and then another. And another. Jennifer was kicking her in her sleep, and she was kicking her hard. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid and I would sneak into my parents' room to fall asleep, I was a thrasher.
Oh, so you would end up being
I would turn
down.
sideways. I would kick them in the face somehow. I was a monster. I don't know how they dealt with me being in the room. Yeah. There'd be times where my dad would have to go sleep in my room so that I could sleep next to my mom because there would be enough space for me to sprawl, full on starfish. So she was asleep, kicking her mom in bed. Elaine gently woke up Jennifer and explained to her that she needed to go to her own room so that they could be well rested in time for Elaine to go to work and for Jennifer to go to her babysitter's house or her babysitter to come over. It's not exactly explained who was going where, but she had childcare that morning. Elaine wasn't leaving her 8-year-old alone.
Yeah, of course.
Jennifer agreed because, quote, she loved her mother enough to go. So sad. I don't like how that was phrased, but that is part of the interview. And then she went to her own room. Elaine would normally go in and tuck Jennifer into bed, read a bedtime story, and say their I love yous before returning to her own bed. But since they had already done their bedtime routine, Elaine just let Jennifer walk into her room alone. She figured she was just going to fall into bed and crash out because her kid fell asleep quick. So it makes sense to assume she's going to go lay down in bed and fall asleep. Sadly, Jennifer did not lay down and fall asleep. She walked into her room.
Are you joking?
Reportedly, Jennifer did return to her bedroom, but did not fall asleep right away. She turned on the light and grabbed one of her bedtime stories and went to go lay down in her bed. So, reportedly, Jennifer did return to her own bed, but she did not fall asleep right away. She ended up turning on the lights and grabbed one of her bedtime stories and laid down in her bed. Now, since she lived in Texas and it was summer, she also opened the shades to her window and cracked open the window to let some breeze in. Normally this is fine, but it is what led to her downfall. And this is one of the many reasons I will never sleep with the windows open. More specifically, because my mother frightened me. I have my generational trauma from the Night Stalker. We can't sleep with the windows open in my house. Ever. Can't. No. Too afraid.
I mean,
we'll get to his case eventually. I started writing it, but it's just so long that we haven't.
I only know bits and pieces. I know big chunks, but I don't know the whole story.
I thought I knew the whole story, and I don't. So, yeah, it's long.
American Horror Story did an adaptation of The Night Stalker.
They did. I like American Horror Story. After a bit of reading, Jennifer fell back to sleep with the lights still on, allowing anyone to see inside her room. Dennis Earl Bradford grabbed Jennifer. With his hand over her mouth and nose, he ran into his blue two-door car. After throwing her into the car, he had one hand on the wheel and one hand on the back of her head. He would shove it down anytime a car drove by. After a little while of driving, Dennis looked over to Jennifer and told her, quote, "Don't be scared. I'm an undercover cop." She was 8 years old. She should trust him inherently. But for one reason or another, something must have seemed off to the young Jennifer. She asked to see his badge and gun as soon as he mentioned it. He told her, "Oh, I actually don't have those with me at this moment." Like, she knew it wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 90s. She's a little kid. She's only gone through the second grade. You're taught to trust people who say that they're police officers. For something to automatically click, like, hey, can I see proof? Like, something must have been really... I mean, he grabbed her from her window and threw her in her car, so I'm pretty sure that was the sketchy thing that he had to do.
Yeah, you know, it only takes really that.
It was only the kidnapping.
I don't think the cops would do this. That's so weird.
Interesting. This seemed to panic her, of course, because he can't prove that he's a police officer, and he's acting crazy and just stole her from her house.
Yeah.
She soon turned and stared out the window for a long time, and loudly said to him, "You should drop me off at my grandparents' house," pointing to a house in the distance. They did live closely together, and reportedly she did point out her grandparents' house. But Dennis did not stop or slow down. This is believed to be when Jennifer knew he wasn't a police officer. Like, she really started to catch in that something was wrong. Surely a law official would drop her off with a close family relative. They then pulled into a lot next to an elementary school, which turned out to be her elementary school. So, there's no proof that he was stalking her or that he knew it was her elementary school, but it's so crazy that he pulled into an elementary school that she was going to, that she had gone to for second grade and was going to for third grade.
It feels too coincidental.
Yeah. He says that he doesn't know her at the end of this, but, like, I think he does.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that one at the end. Dennis told Jennifer that when the moon, quote, changed colors, her mom would be there to pick her up. I don't really know why he said this specifically. It's thought to be he was trying to, like, give himself time to psych himself up to actually commit this crime. And he was just, like, giving himself an excuse of, like, we're going to sit here, she's going to not be staring at me, and I'll be able to get myself ready to do this. Dennis is using this time to psych himself up for his upcoming crime. He offered Jennifer candy, but she reportedly denied all offers. After a while, Dennis pulled out of the school's parking lot and started driving down a gravel road. After a little while of driving, they pulled off into an overgrown field with thin, tall grass. Dennis pulled Jennifer out of the car into the field before lunging at her throat with a knife, saying, quote, "Am I scaring you, little girl? Am I scaring you?" Of course he is. I don't know what the purpose of that was. I think it was truly just to panic her as much as possible. His crime is very drawn out. We will not be going into depth over the crime. I will be mentioning what he did, but we're going to breeze over it pretty quickly because it's not necessary to think about more. She's a little girl. He then dropped the knife and started repeatedly choking her with his hands. He would choke her until she would black out, and then he would stop and wait for her to regain consciousness before strangling her again. So he was torturing her. During these times of unconsciousness, he would sexually assault her and would eventually end the torture game by slitting her throat ear to ear. So that's here, through the aorta, through basically your vocal cords, and all the way back up. The last known conscious moment of her during the attack was him dragging her through the field by her ankles before dropping her off in the middle of it and then driving out of there. That's like the last time he remembers her like making a sound or like gurgling. But again, she could have just been gurgling. Several hours later, a group of girls between the ages of 6 to 10 are playing a game of catch in the field near their home. They're in the tall grass, screaming, shouting, and playing like carefree kids. I don't know about you, but I didn't live near a lot of fields as a kid, but my grandparents lived an hour north in California from Sacramento. So that's like mostly like farmland and like woodsy areas, and I liked playing around in like the fields where like there's tall grass, because then you can kind of hide, and it feels like you're playing a game or like you're kind of like looking through the jungle. Like there's more things to like run around.
It's more imaginative.
And you're little, so you're short, so you can really like run through there and hide. So of course these little girls are playing a game of catch or tag basically in the field. Since it had such particularly tall grass, they were able to run around and duck and hide from each other, which made the game more exciting. One of the girls went running through, trying not to get tagged, when she suddenly tripped and fell hard. When she turned her head, she saw the naked body of an 8-year-old girl whose throat was slit ear to ear. Jennifer had been left in that field for 14 hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So he took her relatively early.
Was there already a missing report by that time?
It's somewhere around like 6 a.m. So her mom would have just woken up. So there's not a report exactly. Her body was left on top of a fire ant hill, which is not a place you should put a dead body, but I don't think that was purposeful. I think he just happened to drop her there. Like I don't think he had the forethought of it. I think he tortured her, slit her throat, and then like dropped her in the middle of the field, so it was a little bit more hidden because they were closer to the car at the time. When the police arrived, there was not much physical evidence to go off of. Her PJs were tossed to the side, as well as a man's blue t-shirt and underwear was left.
That's fucking crazy.
Well, it's the 90s. Like, they're not... If you wanted DNA testing, like, you needed blood, and you needed it pretty fresh, and you needed a lot of it. So, like, even, like, semen testing was not great. At most, you could find, like, the mother's blood type, or the person's blood type. Because it's just... They were figuring it out, but they weren't there yet. They knew that they had to rush to find out whoever did this in their small community, but sadly, on the clothes and the body, there was not enough DNA to catch the monster. We're going to go into a bit of Dennis's life now, because I want you to know who he is and see exactly how much he deserves the ending that's coming to him. This one's not a very long story, luckily, so we have, like, we're going to go through. Dennis does not have much known about his early childhood. There's no reports of abusive parents, no specific head trauma, no animal cruelty. Like, I don't know why he suddenly started hurting people or what age he started hurting people. It might be that he's just one of the monsters that was born rather than created. We've talked a lot about created monsters recently, but he just seems to exist. We do know that he would have been around 20 in 1990, and then he lived in Texas and then moved to Arkansas in 1991, where he married his first wife, Lisa. I'm so sorry. I must interrupt. As you know,
Arkansas.
I hate Arkansas with a passion. This is the reason I texted you last night about how much I hated Arkansas is because I was writing this part out.
And you're like, another check for the box.
Hate Arkansas.
They're making bangers out in Arkansas.
So this is Dennis Also, Dennis is a terrible name. Don't name any of your children Dennis. Dennis is also the name of the BTK killer. It's this dude. It's a bad name. Don't name your kid Dennis. Don't name your child Dennis. I'll be so sad.
Why is this photo age?
Because they don't catch him at this time. They catch him later.
Awesome.
Yeah. Arkansas. Although slightly pretty, I will admit, from photos, it's not an incredibly ugly state, but I hate it. I hate it so much. Specifically West Memphis. West Memphis is ugly. It's an ugly little place, but it's not the people's fault. It's the government and Arkansas itself, and I fucking hate Arkansas. Eventually, we will do the case of the reason why I hate Arkansas. The West Memphis 3. It's legitimately, I think it's going to take like 4 episodes to go through. Like, I heard this case when I was in high school, and it has never left me. Like, I get physically angry about Arkansas.
I would love to take you there someday.
I would rather shoot myself in the face. Honest to God. It's not... The people there are lovely. I've met people from Arkansas, and I tell them how much I hate their state, and they're like, why? What did we do?
And you're
I'm
like, I
nothing.
got great reasons.
I'm like, you've done nothing. I hate your government. I hate most government. I hate Arkansas's government.
We've activated her.
Sometimes when I breathe too hard, I can feel it through my eyeballs.
I feel like that's a problem.
It is. That should not happen, but it does. Anyways, fuck Arkansas. Moving on. He got married to Lisa, who's his first wife, when he was 21 and she was 18.
Not
I
weird.
know that's not, like, it's not illegal. It's weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's a 3-year age gap, but there's such a difference between a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. 21-year-old me and 18-year-old me, I don't think would have been friends. They would have been, like, fine near each other, but they would not have hung out.
No.
Yeah.
Different circles.
They're different people. They had 2 children together. Great that this monster has kids. He was a known alcoholic, which led to his divorce shortly after. So, like, they had 2 kids and then basically got divorced. Thankfully. He also doesn't have access to these kids. Like,
oh, that's good.
Because it's the 90s, so all parental rights went to the mom, whether good or bad. Luckily, for this case, good.
I was like, what do you mean, good or bad? Is the mom bad too? I was
No,
like,
no,
don't do this.
Just some other cases. I mean, you know, your case, horrible.
Horrible.
I've been getting updates about it.
Oh, there's just so much stuff. There's layers. If you know,
We
you
have
know.
to do an update soon.
Go
it
listen
seems.
to the Ruby Frankie case.
It's good. I think it's like our 3rd episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. In 1996, so this is 6 years later, after he's hurt Jennifer, he was at a bar when he saw a woman and for some reason went over to her and offered to buy her a drink because I know not every man who does this is a creep. But every creep does this.
There's an overlap.
She declined, and so he harassed her and went over again and again saying, oh, let's play a game of pool. Oh, let me buy you a drink. Oh, why won't you take me seriously? Oh, if you just give me a chance. Like
The bear. I'm choosing the bear.
At least the bear's gonna kill me quickly. The bear's gonna kill, and it's not even malicious.
And I know what the bear's in it for. It's in it to kill me.
Yeah, and it's in it to just eat because it's hungry. Bears don't attack because they're like doing something. They know that they're bigger than us. They know that they're scarier than us. They're attacking us because they're hungry.
They're like, I just want to eat, and you are food.
Yeah, a man will attack me because I looked at him the wrong way. Or because I didn't smile enough at him. Different story. Angry still.
Every story.
Ugh, Arkansas. Eventually, because he kept harassing her and she felt uncomfortable, she agreed to get him off her back. They would play a game of pool, and he would buy her drink after drink. And when they were finished, he offered to give her a ride home. This man's drunk also. Should not get into a car with the drunk man, but she did. She sadly agrees, and when she got into the car, he told her that they were going to go and take the scenic route home. Because there's so many beautiful things he wants to show her in Arkansas. Pictures of Arkansas. Fucking hate
Here.
Arkansas. He drove down the back roads. Oh, he also said that another reason is he really wanted to show her some of the music that he was into. Like, okay, stranger. Also, they reportedly didn't listen to music the entire drive. So he just said this weird thing and, like, just, like, pretended it was the end. I don't know. He's a weird dude.
Love that.
So they drove the back roads and then they turned, and while driving the back roads, he suddenly turned, looked at her, and started punching and choking her. Like, he punched her in the face and then started choking her with one hand. She loses consciousness, and he stops the car and drags her body out of the car. Like, so, here's the thing. I don't think Jennifer's his first case. I know that this woman is not his second case. Like, I mean, from what we know, technically she's her second case. But a man, a monster.
It's very patternistic already. So
yeah, it's very
there's
specific.
no chance that, like, that was it.
Yeah, and also, when you're first starting out, predators and these types of sexual sadists don't start off with, oh, I'm going to kidnap, assault, and murder a child. They're usually much smaller with, like, they start with, like, inappropriate pictures, getting too close, light stalking. I say light stalking as if that's not horrifying on its own. And then they slowly ramp it up with, oh, I'm going to start touching people. Oh, I'm going to start following them home. Oh, I'm going to break in.
And then once you get away with it, like, they do it more.
Yeah, then they get to the point where, oh, I'm brave enough to do this. So I am 99% confident. I would bet enough money to buy a house in California. That's a lot of money. That this is not his first nor second time doing it. He's done so much more to so many other women. We just don't know their victims' names.
Yeah.
So she loses consciousness while he's driving the car. He stops the car and he drags her out. When she wakes up again, she is naked. He stripped her down. We don't know what happened during this time, but we do know that her clothes were scattered in the field, same as he did with Jennifer. And Dennis told her to stay still, which she does because she's terrified. This man punched her and started choking her to the point where she lost consciousness. And that takes a long time. Not nearly as long as it takes to murder someone, but it takes a very long time. I think it's like something like 5 minutes to kill someone. It's like 3 minutes to incapacitate them. It's a lot. He ran to his car, got a knife, and held it to her throat, and then sexually assaulted her as well. She was able to eventually push him off and run away. Like, luckily she got away, or else she was also going to be killed, I think. She got away and was able to contact the place where he was arrested and convicted for this attack. Like, he has one criminal case against him now. In 1996 of this woman. When he was arrested, he was originally booked for first-degree attempted murder and rape. But this was later reduced to kidnapping and sexual assault after a jury was deadlocked on whether or not the rape charge was warranted.
Oh. They don't care about us.
I could understand if they were saying the attempted murder being a deadlock of whether or not it's warranted, because he technically did not have the chance to actually try. He threatened her with a deadly weapon. Mm-hmm. But he did rape her.
Literally.
He full on, in every sense of, even in, the most conservative version of this is what rape is, he did that. So his charges get completely reduced to barely anything. He's charged with kidnapping and sexual assault, which technically, in legal terms, could mean anything from groping, touching, and harassing to penetration.
Awesome.
Yeah, so technically it's part of it, but you can also then proclaim as the perpetrator that it's something so much lesser. I mean, it's not actually, but in the eyes of many people, it's seen as lesser. He was sentenced to 12 years in jail, but he only served 3 because of good behavior, because it's really easy to be good behavior when you don't have a woman to harass and assault. I don't think people should be let out on good behavior for sexual assault charges or murder charges, especially when the person that you're hurting is someone you don't have consistent access to. Also, if you were assaulting or murdering people, just you stay in there for your full fucking term.
That's just disgusting. That's just disgusting and appalling.
Yeah. He got paroled in 2007.
Okay.
Don't know how old I was.
Don't do this.
Don't know how old I was.
Don't.
We need a little bit of lightening up.
No.
Because it's going to get real hard soon.
It's not lining up for me. My foot's in the grave right now.
I was 5 years old.
Jeez.
I was 5.
I wasn't.
I wasn't. In 2007, he was arrested. He got paroled in 2007 and was arrested the following year for a DUI because he's an alcoholic. So he was drinking and driving. He then got married to a woman named Elizabeth because, you know, he just has a crime charge against kidnapping and sexual assault and a DUI. That's the one you want to marry. That's a great choice. I understand that most women didn't like just check people's arrest records.
And he probably hid that shit.
Yeah, he probably just didn't tell her. You should always check before you go on like dates with people that you don't know. Just Google them. It's really easy. Costs like $12.
Literally though. And public records, arrest records are free.
Yeah, you can get arrest records for free. And $12 if you want like everything. Like where they lived. That's also creepy. Don't do that. Just get the public arrest records.
I mean, or do that. If they seem creepy, do that.
So he got married to a woman named Elizabeth and became the stepfather to 3 children from her prior marriage. So now he has access to children again. Great. This is scary because he sexually assaulted an 8-year-old girl, and I believe you have to be a predator. If you're going to sexually assault an 8-year-old, no matter what, you are qualified as a predator forever. A lot of these people will state that they're not predators because they're not physically attracted to that body type or that type of human. They were just an easy target. Bullshit. You're a predator.
Is that a thing that people say? What the fuck? Do you think that makes it sound better? Or like, what is the thought process on that one? Do they think...
They think it sounds better.
That's crazy as fuck. Wow, that's so fucking crazy. That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it's better. I just hurt the most vulnerable part of our population. I'm not even attracted to them. I'm just hurting them to hurt them. Either way, equal amount of
fucking
evil.
Crazy.
Like, it's an equal amount of evil here. We're just changing out the words. From there on, there is no other reported cases against him. We don't see any more arrest charges. We don't see any alcohol abuse. We don't see him arrested for even conduct disorder. Oh gosh, I lost my entire place. Okay, from there on, there is no other reports against him. I do believe that other victims... What the fuck? Okay, during this time, I do believe that there's other victims that he attacked and hurt that we just don't know about. I'm sure there's no way he didn't hurt more people. But soon, in North Little Rock, he did get detained by the police again during a normal routine traffic stop that they had placed at. And when he got brought to the Arkansas police, he met detectives from Texas suddenly in the police station. He was held without bail for the attempted murder charge. The officers asked him if he had ever heard of the case of Jennifer Schuett. So suddenly things are catching up to him. Seemingly out of nowhere. It's years later at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How'd that happen? What led to that?
The officers asked him if he had ever heard of the case of Jennifer Schuett, and he said yes, he had heard about an 8-year-old girl's body being found. So I have a little video for you. I don't know why it's not playing sound. Maybe it's just because it's an ad.
Jennifer Schuett? Yes. Do your application come in contact with her? Yes. Tell me about that. No. My whole life for the past 20 years has been utterly and completely up because of my mistake. I can tell, obviously, the sexual out, but I think you would, if you were to see her, I think you would be extremely proud of her. I really do. She's alive.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Let me tell you, she's
Oh, fuck him. I don't care about him.
What the fuck?
What do you mean? What do you mean? How?
We'll get into that.
Fuck him.
Yeah, this goes on for a long time.
Yeah,
We don't need to
no,
watch
I
the
don't
rest of
wanna- I
this.
don't
He's
care
just a
about him.
crying little
Bitch.
Yeah, he's pathetic. But yeah,
What the fuck? But... Okay, keep going.
so throughout the video, they ask him if he knows about Jennifer. He says yes. They ask him if he wants to talk about it. He says no. They start talking about it, and then while talking about it, they say, you know, I think if you see her today, you would be very proud. And this is when it clicks in that she is fucking alive. She survives the 14 hours in that field.
How the fuck did that happen?
After he was arrested by detectives and the FBI agent, that's who's in the video, is the main detective and an FBI agent, they came to Jennifer and said, quote, we told you we would get him. So we're going to switch over to Jennifer's point of view. Because she's okay. Granted, this is a horrible and traumatic thing that happened to her.
Yeah.
But she's alive. She's alive today.
What the fuck?
Jennifer, while being taken by her kidnapper, was able to think clearly enough to find key details that would eventually help the police to find Dennis. When Dennis Bradford first ran with her to the car, she took note of that it was a beat up, two-door, quote, yucky blue colored car. She got as many details as she could in her brain as fast as she could. Because she knew something was wrong. Because, of course, someone grabbed her out of her window.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, I have to tell someone, remember as many details as you want. Also, I'm teaching my kids, if anyone does anything, you have to know all the details.
Absolutely.
I'm also teaching them that no adult should have a secret with them, because no adult should have a secret with a kid. Even if it's pretend and like play and cute, no. You're not allowed to have secrets with adults.
No.
Not cool. Different thing.
You put their DNA under your nails.
Yeah, scratch. Real hard. Real fast. Eyeballs.
Okay.
While in the car driving to the schoolyard, she made a point of saying her grandparents' house was nearby, and when he did not drop her off there, she knew he was not trusted because, quote, if I was really in danger and he was really trying to protect me, he would have given me to a trusted adult of my family. She knew all of this. Like, I don't know what was protecting her.
Mom. It's her mom.
It's her mom, it's the universe, it's something. Something protected her and made sure she was going to be able to get her revenge. When they sat in the car at the elementary school, she refused the candy offered and took the time in her head to repeat the description of Dennis. Quote, glasses, mustache, yucky hair, scar and face. Glasses, mustache, yucky hair, scar and face. She said that over and over and over again to herself so that she would remember it by the time this was ending. Because, again, she thought she was just being kidnapped. She doesn't know what's happening yet. As he tortured this little girl, she tried to take in the details of where she was. Jennifer was left in that field, barely holding on to life, losing blood, actively dying. She was trying to move up, to sit up, or figure out where she was. Sorry, this is where it gets hard for me. She tried to figure out where she was. She talked about how her body felt so heavy and her screams would never leave her chest. She couldn't figure out why at this point. After a while of laying in the field, she was able to force her hand to her neck and felt something thick and heavy. When she was able to look at it in her hand, she realized that it was covered in blood. Like, she wasn't awake for the point when he slit her throat, luckily. Mm-hmm. She woke up after the fact. She kept trying to hold her neck together, but due to the shock, fear, or blood loss, she would keep losing consciousness. I think it's slightly thankful and grateful that she wasn't fully awake for the 14 hours because mm-hmm. I don't think she would have survived if she was awake for the 14 hours. Mm-hmm. I think the shock constantly putting her back to sleep enabled her to survive this.
Yeah, it was protecting her body.
Yeah. Jennifer talked about how she felt all these small sharp pricks all over her body, that she could feel the fire ants bite into her skin.
Oh, I forgot about the ants.
Yeah. I looked it up. A fire ant's bite initially feels like a stinging burning sensation. This is followed by the development of itchy bumps and blisters, which can be intensely painful. Mm-hmm. She spoke later about how the sun started to rise and she felt more at peace. She was just waiting for her body to slip into unconsciousness where she could die. Soon enough, she heard people giggling in the field, and these voices would come closer and louder till someone had smacked into her limp foot and fell next to her. Jennifer's next moment of consciousness, she remembered hearing people surrounding her, and she was able to open her eyes when she saw a police officer, luckily in uniform, standing over her saying, quote, you're okay, you have been found now, just stay with us. Please just stay with us.
Oh.
Yeah. Because this is before they have the report, so they don't know who this little girl is. They just know that something terrible has happened. I think it took then 5 minutes before her mom called in the police. Because she just thought her kid was around the house, like, hiding.
Yeah.
Because she's 8, and she's...
You don't want to think the worst.
You don't think the worst. You're like, she just, like, looked around the house looking for her kid, and then she called the police, and then she was running around all over town looking for her. And they happened to just find her.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. When she was transferred to a hospital, everyone thought she was going to die. She had lost almost all of her blood. Like, I can't remember how much it was, but it was a significant amount. Like, she should have died much sooner. She was covered in ant bites and beaten and bruised, as the doctor suspected, but later confirmed also sexually assaulted. While Jennifer was in the room, her mother was not allowed to see her or be there with her because doctors and nurses needed to perform life-saving measures and wanted to ensure that no one would be in the way while Jennifer was in there. Which makes sense because if you're a mom, of course you're trying to, you might want to just hold on to your kid. Like, your kid disappeared, something happened. You just want to have that connection of, like, you're there and she can't physically move, but it's bad when it's people around them trying to save your kid. Mm-hmm. So she just wasn't allowed to see her, which I can only imagine how heartbreaking and hurtful that is. Mm-hmm. When Jennifer was awake, only female doctors and nurses were allowed into the room. This was because Jennifer became noticeably frightened anytime a man stepped into the room, which makes sense. And these women would constantly tell her that she is going to be okay and everything will be fixed. Soon they put Jennifer under for the OR so that an ear, nose, and throat doctor could look into fixing her trachea, which was completely slashed through. This is why she couldn't scream. So the trachea is the wind tunnel of your throat. He also cut through her voice box entirely. So it was severed in half. You have a 12% chance of surviving after your trachea has been severed. It's a miracle that she survived. For even the 14 hours. Even just getting to the hospital is a miracle.
Yeah. Because that's moving her body and everything.
And the blood loss in the trachea, and not being able to breathe, because every time she tries to breathe, blood is being spewed into her throat. Mm-hmm. I have no clue what saved her, but something did. It is incredibly lucky that he missed cutting her arteries and had only severed the trachea. So I tried to figure it out by laying on my back and touching my neck, because my arteries are right here and here, so they go parallel most of the time. Mm-hmm. There's a slight chance that she had them in a slightly different area, but most people have them running the same way. My best estimation is that he cut too high up, which could get your trachea, because that's right up here, so that would have opened it up. But I don't think that would have cut your vocal cords, because your vocal cords are in the back. I think something happened where the knife was dull in a place and just grazed over it, but didn't hit into the arteries. Because if you hit an artery, you're dying within seconds. There's no chance of coming back. Mm-hmm. You have to actively be in a hospital getting a blood transfusion and having your arteries cut to survive it.
Yeah.
Due to the trauma to her throat, Jennifer would never be able to speak again, doctors said. And then Nurse Sharon, she's a pediatric nurse assigned to Jennifer's case. She also has an 8-year-old daughter at the exact same time as when she had Jennifer's case. So just a horrible moment for everyone around. Everyone's just incredibly hurt and sad. She made a point to never let anyone hurt or scare Jennifer again. She made a huge point of male doctors and male nurses were not allowed in her room when Jennifer was awake. And if she was on duty, she would stand at the door and guard it. No matter what Jennifer was doing while at the hospital, Elaine or Nurse Sharon were always there in her room. It took a long time for Jennifer to trust again, but Sharon gained her trust and soon proved vital in Jennifer's case. Was well known to kick out male doctors. Jennifer also got in huge trouble while in the hospital because at one point in time, I believe Sharon and her mom weren't actively in the room. I think her mom went to go use the restroom and Sharon was just not assigned that day, and a male nurse, not knowing any better, walked into the room to check her vitals, and Jennifer woke up, saw him, and kicked him so hard that he fell off, and he just like walked out. Like, you can't do anything, like you don't say anything. He later found out like that what had happened, like felt really guilty about being in the room. He just didn't know any better, but also
That's what happens.
That's badass. You kicked someone so hard they fall off. Good job. Just another side note, Jennifer was traumatized so much to the point that she could not look at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were bloodshot for a long time because of the strangulation. All of the blood vessels in her eyes broke, so the whites of her eyes turned red, and that takes a very long time to heal, especially if all the blood vessels break. She now had bruises and a scar over her neck and around her face. The scar on her neck, of course, is from them stitching up the trachea where her trachea was severed, as well as bruising and scarring around her face. Her body was covered in small bites, and Jennifer would often talk about how when she looked in the mirror, she didn't recognize herself anymore, and it was a different person, which is common for victims of sexual assault, especially children. Jennifer, her mother Elaine, and Sharon played a key role in catching Dennis Earl Bradford. The police, as you remember, did not have much physical evidence to work with, so they came up with a system that would give Jennifer the ability to answer any of their questions. Because this is a small town. I was looking at police records. I couldn't find a female officer that was there that wasn't their sketch artist. So the sketch artist, like, although part of the police force, can't ask questions technically, and they were not going to send a male police officer. One, the guy lied about being a police officer. Two, it's a dude. You're not going to send that in.
Yeah, I know.
So what they did is they wrote down all of their questions on a notepad, and they passed it to the mom and Sharon, and they would give it to Jennifer so she could write the answers. Oh, here are pictures of Jennifer at the time. This is her when she gets in, and this is her after she's in her cast. The top picture is when she's starting to get better and she's able to move around.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The bottom picture is when she's first brought in. Like, you can see that she looks like she's going to die. So she wrote down the answers to the questions. This was crucial in catching Dennis and building a case against him. An 8-year-old Jennifer remembered almost everything that happened that night. She wrote down that what she wore that night, what he told her when he told her to shut up, when he forced her head down in the car, what he looked like, what car he looked like, including the drawings of his face, as well as so much more. And on the very last page of the notebook, she wrote, he said his name was Dennis. Because the dumbass motherfucker fucking told her his name because he thought she was gonna die. That's her handwriting. And he said his name was Dennis. Fuck him.
That's fucking crazy.
During the 4th day at the hospital, a female sketch artist came into Jennifer's room to help create a composition sketch, which would later turn into the police. And then Jennifer was allowed to rest. Also, this composition sketch looked almost exactly like him during the time. It's one of the best composition sketches that has ever been reported in Texas history. Like, that is what he looked like at that time. So after this, she was allowed to rest and just heal. And although everyone said that she wouldn't survive, she did survive. And everyone said that she would never speak. Well, eventually her voice did return. Jennifer jokes now as an adult after getting her voice back, quote, and I haven't shut up since. I know, it's heartbreaking, but it's also great because, like...
It's really great, but it's so sad.
Because we know at the end now that he's going to rot. I know.
At least this one didn't make me want to throw up.
Yeah, no. It's just, like, it's sad in a different way. Because you don't want this to have happened, but also, like, you're kind of proud of her for constantly just, like, beating all of the odds. She is completely full of miracles. I think she should buy, like, 90 lottery tickets. She would have won. Because, like, she wasn't going to survive. She survived. Wasn't going to talk. Was able to talk. Likelihood of her case being solved, very low. It did get solved. She should buy a lot of lottery tickets. And Jennifer was able to start the 3rd grade at the same time as all of her classmates. That's a huge step. Huge. Granted, she had a really hard time in school, especially in 3rd grade. She's a 3rd grader who was assaulted. But she figured it out. But as time went on, her case grew colder as her life started to get back on track. As normal and as back on track her life can get after this attack. Soon enough, her case had no updates except for how it was reassigned to a new officer over and over and over again. This is incredibly common with cold cases and usually means that it's never going to get solved. Hers did. As Jennifer grew up, she went on to college and she worked at a children's library. She spoke about how she wanted to have kids one day. She eventually meets and falls in love with her husband, Jonathan Martinez. So, as you may have remembered, we had a quote from Miss Martinez. It is from Jennifer at the beginning of this. "You're trying to kill me." So she fell in love and married her husband, Jonathan Martinez, but she still keeps an eye out for this man who's hurt her, of course, as you do. Jonathan was always supportive and stayed with her. At age 25, Jennifer was diagnosed with I'm so sorry, I'm going to mispronounce this. It's a scientific word. I'll spell it at the bottom. I'll give you the spelling for it. But I'm going to try. It's hydrosalpinx, which is a condition where one or both fallopian tubes become distended with fluid, which is likely caused by her sexual assault. And due to this, she might not be able to get pregnant ever. Doctors said that she had something close to like a 5% chance of having kids. And she desperately wanted them. While in the thick of all this anger and pain, 18 years after the crime, she gets a call from Detective Tim Cromie. He called her personally and requested an appointment to meet with her in person, which is very uncommon, especially for a cold case. She met with him and she kind of just breaks down and tells him all about what this monster did, how it's affecting her life now, how she can't go anywhere without feeling nervous or scared, how she can't move on, just all of this stuff, how she now can't have kids. Most likely, and Detective Cromie promised her, quote, "I will do whatever I can till the end of my career to get you the answers that you need for this case." Like, he's in it to win it. I talk a lot of shit about police officers, but every once in a while we get one of these stories and I'm just like, fuck yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what the job's supposed to be. And it gives me that little bit of hope that I need to return to my stupid job sometimes where I'm not doing anything nearly important enough. But yeah, every once in a while that makes me feel better. It's now 2009. I won't tell you how old I was. Detective Cromie reaches out to the FBI for DNA testing. In 2009, they could do DNA testing from, I almost said urine, from semen samples. Completely different.
Very different.
Very different. One is way more easy to get DNA from than the other. I don't think you can get DNA from urine. I think it's just waste product.
If it's in ketones.
It might be.
I don't know.
We'll find out someday. I'll Google it eventually. So testing on the clothes, they sent the clothes over to Quantico to get tested. They knew that the testing was going to take a very long time, especially since their case was a cold case and would not be prioritized. But after a year later, they got the information that they needed and got a match back on the clothes. Dennis Earl Bradford. This is when her notebook came back into play and was the turning stone in the case. Now, the local police did not know who Dennis was, but they looked him up to see that he was now convicted in 1997 of that sexual assault and kidnapping, which was not a sexual assault and kidnapping. It was a torture and rape. 7 years after Jennifer, he did this. So I just want to point out again, like, he hurts her. 7 years later, hurts this other person. There's no way he didn't hurt people in between. We just don't know about them yet. Oh yeah, that's when she's able to talk. And that's what he looks like comparative to his sketch. Like, very close.
That's crazy.
They saw that in 1991, Dennis lived in Arkansas, so they called up the Driver's License Bureau of Texas and saw that he did live in Texas in 1990. Because they wanted to confirm that he was living there. He wasn't just like, oh, this is a mistaken identity, someone stole his name. Mm-hmm. No, he did live there. when they got to see his driver's license photo and saw that it matched the composite sketch from the hospital. While he was in Texas, he lived only a few blocks away from Jennifer's house. It's reported that he could probably see through her window from where he lived. Like, he wouldn't be able to, like, look in and, like, see the room, but he could see, like, if the lights are on, from the corner that he was at, he could see the house. So I don't believe that it's possible that he did not know her and did not know that school was hers.
No chance.
Yeah, I think he stalked her and
absolutely, which was probably patternistic to the rest of the people too.
Yeah. Now that we're all caught up on everything that's going on in his life, we're going to move on to the trial, because although they have a good amount of the new and old evidence, Detective Cromie still had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Dennis was guilty, and as seen in his prior conviction, it is really easy to get away with sexual assault, even if it's against a minor. It's incredibly easy in our justice system in the United States to just hurt people, because for some reason it's really good about protecting the predator and not the victim. Dennis was interviewed about his case 19 years ago, and the reason why he thought she was dead was due to Texas law stating that an active case, especially involving a minor, is not allowed to be publicized in order to protect the minor and to help the case from being, I'm so sorry, my eyes just tricked me into thinking someone was standing at the stairs, from not having the case being, having important details being released.
Mm-hmm.
So Dennis thought that she died, because all the newspapers were allowed to release is that the little girl's body was found, that an 8-year-old was found dead, or was found in a field. Never mentioned specifically that she's dead, but I mean, it's easy to presume.
Mm-hmm.
He told police that he had never met Jennifer outside of the kidnapping, and that during this time of the attack, he was just driving around and pulling into random lots and looked over to the window and saw that her light was on. Bullshit. He lived close to her. He knew which school she went to. He found a field nearby that she wouldn't have recognized. So he knew all the places that, one, she would recognize and fill her with fear, and all the places that she wouldn't recognize to make her even more scared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He stated to her, "I told that little girl that it was going to be all right, that I was a police officer." He then admitted to sexually assaulting her and trying to kill her. He stated that he thought about killing himself. Bullshit. Every fucking murderer says that. Oh, I did this crime and then I thought about hurting myself. If you did, you would have. If he did, he would have.
What a little cop out.
Yeah, no, he's a pathetic little. He's pathetic. He tried to shoot himself with a shotgun in his parents' house. Again, a lot of serial killers. Catherine Knight tried to take a bunch of pills so that she would die, but she didn't. She didn't take nearly enough. He tried to shoot himself with a shotgun. It grazed his face. Like, he needed to go to a hospital, but it didn't hurt him or kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Since he tried to shoot himself with a shotgun in his parents' house but failed, he was brought to the local hospital. The same hospital that Jennifer was put in. It was only a few days after she was transported there. So they were in the same hospital at the same time, only a couple doors away from each other. It's happenstance that she didn't find him. And why would you presume that Dennis is the same Dennis?
That's in-fucking sane.
The universe has a crazy way of going about these things. It's almost like they were trying to make it so he could get caught a lot earlier.
They're like,
but
here you go.
But since the police were constantly, like, for the first 4 days, she didn't get to rest. She spent the entire time trying to fight off male nurses, protect herself, answer questions from the police, do a sketch art. She didn't get to rest until after, which is why she didn't gain her voice back till later.
Yeah.
Because she gained it back while it was in the hospital. Like, it was incredibly fast. Would have been faster if she was given time, but I understand they wanted to make sure they got all the details as soon as possible in order to ensure that
they were, like, fresh in her head.
And that nobody could say, well, that's just a misremembering. No, it was the day one. Dennis confessed to it all, and they were now prepared to go for trial and get him sentenced to life in prison. Dennis was supposed to appear in front of a judge on August 10th. Jennifer got to choose the date, so she chose the date that she was attacked. Exactly 20 years after the day of her attack, she wrote her victim statement multiple times, trying to perfect it. Sadly, she was not able to give her victim statement in court. Dennis had committed suicide by hanging himself with his bedding on May 10th of 2010 at 40 years old because he's a coward. He took the easy way out. He knew his life was over. He knew the other victims would soon come forward. He took the easy way out. Now with him dead, the case was dropped, so Jennifer and her husband went to his grave, and she read her impact statement standing over his grave. After reading her statement, she turned to her husband and asked, quote, "Do you think he heard me?" I'm just going to say, the universe has a funny way of working things out. She was then given a sharp, stinging pain to her ankle, and when she looked at it, she had been bitten by a fire ant. She took that as a sign that he did hear her. She now, after a couple years after that incident, has 2 beautiful children. She was able to get pregnant. She is now a woman who lives and breathes miracles consistently. So I'm just going to go through the miracles real quick. Should not have lived from blood loss, was able to. Should not have been able to talk, but was able to. Should not have had her case solved, but was able to. Should not have had kids. She had 2. That's 5 miracles right there. Telling you, she should buy lottery tickets. Mm-hmm. And this is his grave, and I can't believe there's fucking things there. I understand he has kids, but he should not have a headstone. He should not have anything. We should do old-timey principles. You're a terrible person, you get an unmarked grave thrown somewhere, no one gets to talk about it. Fuck you. I think this one's a little bit easier to go through than our last case.
This has been the Happenings podcast.
We'll see you guys next time.